You know, you just got to be ready to go. And that's reality. That is the way it is.
Woke up with my piss hot. What a way to start. Sweat on my forehead, racing hard. Woke up with my piss hot. Ready to ignite. Let's raise some hell. Let's own the night.
Daniels, just a rookie. 26 out of 30, 87%, 231 yards. He rushes for 47. He's doing everything. Shredded, baby. Oh. C.J. Stroud, 345 yards, brings the Texans back, wins it at the buzzer. Shred him, Stroud. Oh.
Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Bruner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, and hopefully, welcome to your fantasy playoffs. I am riding solo for the time being. Luke will be with me at some point. Trevor is out tonight, and actually, Luke's here right now. So Luke is on the road. Luke is feet on the ground. What's going on in Green Bay other than a snowstorm, I assume?
We got snow, a little slippery roads, but we're all good. It's football season. It's playoff fantasy football season. I'm ready to go.
Perfect. This would be better if it was a home game for the Packers. Luke could really scout out what was going on there. But alas, Sunday Night Football is in Seattle. Just got started here, so just saying, hopefully, welcome to y'all's fantasy playoffs. I assume there's nobody who's starting in week 16, right? Like, there's some people who started last week. This is the week, though, right?
Well, if you start in week 16, you got to end in week 18. That just doesn't make sense.
Unless your league's super small, maybe.
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, I assume this is the week. This is what we prepare for. This is what we spent all those very, very late nights at like 2 a.m. Once waivers process for. This is what we spent all the time during the off season, during draft season, watching your favorite podcasts, watching shows, asking questions, doing all of your own research, relying on other people's research. You made it to this point, and now we got to get a win. Or if you have lost, then use this stuff for either your losers bracket or use this analysis, my rankings, all of that for DFS. No reason not to make money this week and go for wins this week one way or another. Bunch of questions on Twitter. Let's jump into that. Again, we'll go over rankings if you guys don't have anything to talk about or ask. Definitely ask your questions because rankings are over on flurrysports.org. Go get those for free. We don't need to walk you through them. Front page on flurrysports.org or go to my Twitter. They should be there as well. But Jacob asks, so for quarterback this week, would you go with Drake May, Russell Wilson, or Anthony Richardson? I assume, I'll look really quick. I assume I'm highest on Drake May.
Agreed.
Do you have any lean, or do you want me to read off their matchups to you?
Read off their matchups, but I have a lean towards Drake May.
Drake May is going against Arizona. Anthony Richardson is at Denver. And Russell Wilson, I know I hate his matchup, is at Philadelphia.
Yeah, Zach, that's going to be a snow game too, that Pittsburgh Philadelphia game. So I don't love that at all, really, for fantasy. Unless you're a Saquon Barkley owner or whatever, you have to start someone, that's fine. But Drake May against Arizona, look what Seattle did last week against Arizona. Like, Arizona is not – there's nothing on that defense that really fears you. Budda Baker got a little injured in that game. I'm with Drake May here.
The Cardinals looked bad last week. They had a few week stretch there where they looked pretty competent. When the Packers played the Cardinals, our big thing was you could pick who you want to be your leading receiver. The Cardinals defense is that bad. They traded for somebody, I think a pass rusher maybe at the trade deadline. and they've been playing a little bit above their means. Last week against Seattle, they were terrible. Their scheme was bad. The players were bad. Everything was bad. I'm really not afraid of them.
Well, it was disappointing to see for Arizona too, because they're in the midst of a division run here, and they just kind of shit the bed last week against a team they get a win against. That'd be great. So I don't have much confidence in Arizona moving forward here.
And there's something to be said about Patriots coming off a bye. This is the first time Drake May has gotten to take maybe a deep breath since the end of his college season, possibly. Maybe not even then, since he was preparing for the draft. So I like that. He gets to study out an opponent for 2 weeks. That's good. So yeah, I like Drake May. And he's been playing super well, and he's pretty steady for fantasy just because of his legs and stuff like that as well. Is, I assume, Jayden Reed worth a start this week? Ask Richard. So 2 Packers guys. Luke, in your opinion, is Jayden Reed a start against the Seahawks?
Of course, it comes down to who you're starting him over, but I think Jayden Reed's worth a look, right? He went last week 0 for 0, 1 target. Like, Jayden Reed is probably the best playmaker on this Packers offense outside of Josh Jacobs. They have to get him involved in order for Green Bay's passing offense to kind of hum here. I mean, we saw against Miami, he had 2 touchdowns, and it was kind of a dominant victory. I think Jayden Reed's a big catalyst for this offense, and I think Matt LaFleur knows that, and I think he said so in his press conference that, right, we have to get Jayden Reed the ball in any means necessary. I would imagine we could probably get a couple of run plays from Jayden Reed this week. I think there's definitely opportunity for Jayden Reed to score this week in a tough game for Green Bay.
Yeah, they'll make a point to get him the ball. The biggest thing with last week is, Detroit was able to send pressure and play man defense, man coverage. We've said it all season long. Jayden Reed is insanely terrible against man coverage. Like, he had, for the longest time, single-digit yards against man coverage. The best Packers receiver at beating one-on-one man coverage was Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs has been out, and for that reason, the Lions really were not afraid to just go man, because no Packers receiver could beat man. So Doubs is practicing. He technically is still in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
I assume he will be cleared this week. If he does not play, that does actually scare me for Jayden Reed, just because
Agreed.
the blueprint is out. Just play man defense, send pressure at Jordan Love. Jordan Love can't deal with the pressure. The offensive line can't deal with the pressure, and no receiver can get open. But if Romeo Doubs is there, Romeo Doubs is able to create separation and get some strong hands to come down with the catches. So I think he's okay this week. I'm not going to be like banging the drum for him. I think he's a wide receiver 2 to 3.
Agreed. Logically thinking, right, Green Bay their offensive line probably had their worst game against Detroit last week. Like,
for sure.
The way to beat that is, right, you get the short pass, you get bubble screens, you get you get short slants, you get screen plays. It feels like that should be in the playbook this week for Jayden Reed.
Yeah, of all the receivers to run those screen plays with, just to get the ball in their hands in space, Jayden Reed should be that guy. The Packers haven't done that for whatever reason. So if they are saying, hey, let's make it a point to get our best playmaker the ball in open space, logically that makes sense. Logically, that would be Jayden Reed, and it should mean great things because, again, Seattle's played okay on defense over the past few weeks, but they do not scare me whatsoever either.
Agreed.
Patrick, Kyler Murray or Bo Nix? So Kyler Murray plays versus New England, and then Bo Nix plays versus the Colts. I have them back-to-back in my rankings. I have Kyler 1 ahead of Bo Nix.
The nice thing, right, is both teams have been horrible against the pass. It would Kyler Murray uses his legs a little bit more last week in Seattle, which makes sense, right? They need to win a game. Why wouldn't you use what Kyler Murray's best at? Arizona can't be stupid enough to not use that best what he's best at back-to-back games. But once again, you're betting on Kyler Murray. Are you doing that? If you go on the flip side, you're betting against Anthony Richardson. Are you doing that? I don't know. So, I guess Kyler Murray's the play here just because I like the weapons around him a little bit more this week. But I don't know. Do you feel confident either way here?
I for sure don't feel confident. The biggest thing with Kyler Murray, like you said, not using his legs, that's kind of been a pattern since, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In his last 6 games, he's toppled 25 rushing yards 1 time. That's insane. And each of the first 3 games, 4 of the first 5 games, he was running the ball a lot, and he just all of a sudden is not doing that whatsoever. That feels like it's a coaching point for whatever reason, just to keep him healthy, I suppose. But that definitely hurts him for fantasy. And I feel like he's getting off of a rhythm when doing that as well. But against
Agreed.
New England's coming off a bye. We'll see what that means. But he should be able to be fine against New England, in my opinion. Bo Nix has been great all season, though. Like I think they're both kind of in that same tier. Like I said, they're back to back for me. Colts coming off a bye, Patriots coming off a bye. Don't love that in either case, but I'm sticking with Kyler Murray for the time being. Jose wants to know Herbert or Nick's rest of season. And I guess rest of season is 2 weeks, maybe 3, right?
Yeah.
Or 3, maybe 4, I guess. It's Bo Nix for me. I'm not sure if it's close. What about you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I said Anthony Richardson before. Bo Nix is what I meant. Yeah, it's Bo Nix for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if Vlad McConkey somehow misses this week again. I mean, Chargers, as good as the Chargers have played, as good as Harbaugh has done for a coaching job in terms of turning around the culture and everything, I think this is a really good football team, but very, very, very clearly they need another weapon. And, you know, especially if Vlad McConkey's out, like they can take away one person and they're left with no people. So, yeah, a little worried about Herbert for sure for like consistency's sake, I suppose. Weird to say that Bo Nix has the better weapons, but it kind of is true as well. Ryan, full PPR, flex 1, Adam Thielen, Rico Dowdle, Ramondre Stevenson. This is interesting. It's a bunch of like players coming into the season we're like, meh, don't really love, and they're all kind of playing well right now. Do you have a strong lean right away?
I mean, the obvious, I guess in my mind, I don't know about you, but the obvious choice feels Adam Thielen. Like, it felt like last week against Philadelphia, it was really not a coming out party for Adam Thielen because we all know how good a receiver he is. But it feels like Adam Thielen is actually part of this offense coming off that injury he had this year. I imagine full PPR, you're going to get more points for reception. Are you banking your season? I don't love it. Are you banking your season? I like Adam Thielen's reception more.
I think I agree. While I answer this, dip off the stream, come back. If you can connect to Wi-Fi, do that, but just refreshing it should help you. To me, Ramondre Stevenson's out of it, even though I think he might be the most talented of the 3. I just don't really I don't trust that offensive line for New England whatsoever right now. Rico Dowdle plays the Panthers. You know, a few weeks ago, this would have been like a dream scenario. And then all of a sudden, I don't love the matchup against the Panthers. Like Josie Jewell is playing damn good in the middle. And they're just playing tough right now. So obviously they play each other. So Thielen plays the Cowboys. I think I would go Thielen. I think his floor is highest and his ceiling is just as high as the others as well. I mean, he showed that.
Like against the Cowboys last week, Jamar Chase said, 12 for 202 touchdowns. Why can't Adam Thielen go half of that?
Well, that just pointing to that performance alone, clearly the Cowboys are fine with a team force feeding one player.
Yeah, right.
Like that's all the Panthers wanted to do, and that may be all of the Panthers want to do in this game.
Even against Philadelphia, when Bryce Young had pressure on him, he's 5-6 step drop. He was just throwing the ball up to Adam Thielen.
He's actually played pretty well too. Bryce Young, saying. Adam Thielen has played well as well. That's just not really a surprise. But I mean, is Adam Thielen going to be one of those players that wins people the fantasy championships? It feels like he could be. He's on a roll right now.
It feels gross to say because he plays for Carolina, but yeah, I mean, I don't disagree.
Like, there's nobody else there. I just want to see their fantasy playoff schedule really quick. So they got Dallas this week. I mean, shit. So they got Dallas at home, Arizona at home, and then at Tampa Bay. That feels fine. That feels, in fact, more than fine. I love that a lot. What's up, Manning? I assume Peyton, but if it's Eli, I may be even more excited about it. Who should I start at flex? Pacheco, Garendo, Bucky Irving. Your question may be answered by the fantasy gods because Garendo doesn't really feel like he's going to play, and Bucky Irving is very much questionable to play as well.
Bucky Irving has like 6 injuries right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So you may be at Pacheco by default. If somehow they are all active, Grendo's not going to be active. I feel like there's no way. He's my top if they're all playing, but
I don't know. But yeah, I agree. But
let's see.
it's very obvious that Kansas City still wants to run the ball, and Pacheco coming back feels like the perfect time for Kansas City to kind of ground and pound and not really use their passing offense as they kind of coast into the playoffs here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any positive injury news on Guerrero. So they're not concerned about the foot injury, but it's a foot sprain.
Don't love that.
Like, what's that mean? Like, they're not concerned about it, but it's definitely an injury that'll keep him out. I don't think he plays. I really don't think he plays. Manning, to the Cowboys comment, we're comparing Jamar Chase to Adam Thielen, saying Jamar Chase for sure.
Right.
But Adam Thielen's Adam Thielen.
What I'm saying is Jamar Chase had an incredible. He had 41 points this week. Why can't Adam Thielen get 19 points?
Why can't Adam Thielen continue to have 100-yard games for sure?
Right.
And my whole thing was like, the Cowboys lined up on defense. They went to the sideline. They did everything knowing number one's going to get the ball. Like, we know this play is going to go to him, and we're fine with it. We think we can beat them without that. And like, they know Adam Thielen's going to be getting the ball this week, and it seems like they're going to say that's okay. Beat us with the rest of your guys. So yeah, I think both. I think they're fine. I think they're fine letting a player get force fed. I also am not sure the Cowboys are talented enough to stop that as well. So,
Right.
Yeah. Rock out. Tua, Nix, Purdy.
Oh.
So Tua plays. Tua plays at Houston. Purdy plays versus the Rams tomorrow, and the Knicks plays versus the Colts. I currently have Tua the highest just because of how well he's playing, even though I don't like pass catchers and quarterbacks against Houston that much. But the whole thing with Miami is like, just get the ball to their playmakers in open space and let them do work after the catch.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Everyone wants, people are finally coming around in Miami. They've been bad all year. I mean, how can you discredit a core of Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, Jonnu Smith?
I think Jonnu Smith's like tight end 4 this season, which is insane. Like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah. I mean, it feels like they should be matchup proof, and right now they're playing somewhat like matchup proof. Tua's in his bag, at least for fantasy purposes. So I like him. If I'm hesitant on any of them, and I think he's ranked in the middle of them all, interestingly. Yeah, he is. Like, I don't want to touch Brock Purdy at all.
I agree. It's hard to go in a week with confidence around Brock Purdy.
And I say that with him being ranked currently my quarterback 8. It's just, I don't trust him. I don't trust Deebo Samuel. We'll see if George Kittle can continue to put up huge performances, I guess. But if the running game is hurt and not there, I don't trust Brock to do it by himself.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? If the running game's not there, you're not going to get play action. You're not going to get, linebackers and safeties to cheat up. I mean, Deebo Samuel might be the most overrated player in the NFL. George Kittle's a stud. But, I mean, the guy is Juwan Jennings. Is Juwan Jennings open, he's going to get the ball. And, if you put someone on him, it's hard to say that, I'm confident going into this week with Brock Purdy.
Deebo Samuel wants to be A.J. Brown so damn bad.
Yeah.
Remember the contract thing? A.J. Brown gets his contract, and then all of a sudden he's on the phone with Deebo, and they're complaining and shit like that. And then now A.J. Brown comes out as not happy about not getting the targets, and then all of a sudden Deebo is doing the exact same thing. Like, just shut up. You're not good enough to do this. A.J. Brown's a stud. Deebo is, like, I don't even know a good comparison. He's not very good. He's like year 8 James Jones without the touchdowns. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I'm not going to be the guy to go back and say, like, oh, I told you so. But everyone is just basing Deebo Samuel's performance off the first year he was good. He had 8 rushing touchdowns that year. That's not sustainable whatsoever.
No. And it says something, too. And I still think he's playing hurt. But regardless, Christian McCaffrey hasn't been here this year.
Right.
This is the time where he should have gone off, where he should have been in the backfield, where he should have been doing all that stuff. If he wants the ball in his hands, play running back, bud. Like,
Yep.
do what you did before. But, you don't want to play running back? Okay, fine. Then go run a route. And
I'd
if
rather-
you're open, we'll throw it to you.
I'd rather play in the slide and avoid press cover or top coverage and still not produce.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'll complain about it afterwards. So stupid. What's up, Nino?
Hey, Nino.
Player, any questions you got? Welcome back. Let's just jump into rankings here a little bit. Just fire through these, see if anybody stands out to you. So quarterbacks top 5 this week. I have Josh Allen number 1 again at Detroit. I have Lamar Jackson off a bye at the Giants. I have Joe Burrow number 3 at Tennessee. Jalen Hurts number 4 versus Pittsburgh, and Jaden Daniels 5 at New Orleans. Any of those guys stand out?
Well, I think I'm curious, and Zach, while I talk, maybe you can look up Lamar Jackson's stats off the bye if you can find that anywhere. But that feels like a really good game for a week. First playoff win is Lamar Jackson coming off against the Giants. That feels like an easy one. I think Baltimore's like 15-point favorites or something.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, that's going to be a snow game. So I would imagine it's a lot of running. AJ Brown is probably still going to get his feelings hurt in that game. So I would imagine, they keep the ball on the ground. Saquon's been awesome. I imagine Saquon probably gets tackled at the 1 yard line 3 or 4 times in this game, which means 3 or 4 Jalen Hurts rushing touchdowns. So yeah, I'm with it. I think that Pittsburgh Philadelphia game is especially, run the ball, bang it out kind of Keystone State play game, which will be a fun game to watch for sure. That's my number 1 game of the week that I'm excited for.
I agree. Lamar Jackson last year off a bye played the Rams. Really wasn't. I mean, fantasy purposes, he was good, but completed 56% of his passes, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and then ran for 6 yards. Year before that, off of a bye, he played the Panthers, 13-3 win. He had 209 passing yards, no touchdowns, interception, 16 rushing yards.
Thanks.
Yeah, this isn't great at all, actually. Year before that, he went 266, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 13 rushing yards. Oh, am I looking at the wrong thing? I'm totally looking at the wrong thing for rushing yards, by the way. Starting with that one, so last 3 rushing yards, and apologies, he had 120. He had 31, not much better. And then he had 70. So rushing yards are better. I was looking at sack yards before.
It really feels like the time too for Baltimore, right? Where you get Lamar running a little bit. Baltimore is, believe it or not, they're 2 games out of the playoffs here. They need to stack wins to really solidify their spot. So I would imagine a lot of that revolves around Lamar Jackson running the ball.
Yeah, and it's the Giants. Like, go there and beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do against a bad team. That's what they need to do. Giants are truly just playing spoiler, and Tommy DeVito's at quarterback. Like, this is a game where the Ravens defense can put it on them, where the Ravens offense, like, it should be a 500-yard offensive day. It should be. I hope it gets out of hand. That's the kind of thing that needs to happen.
For as much shit as I like to talk about the NFL scheduling, for fantasy purposes, this is an incredible game for Ravens owners and for fantasy playoffs.
It's a good week. There's some tough matchups for fantasy, but it's a good fantasy week. It's a good football week. Whereas like last week was so boring. There were so many bad games.
I mean, last week was what? 2. There was only 1 game where 2 playoff teams were playing each other.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We also got 2 Monday Night Football games this week. Not sure how I feel about that. Yeah, weird. I also don't love how, and I get it because it's West Coast time, right? But Seattle and Arizona should not play at 4:25 every single week, 3:25 every single week. No. I fully agree with that. Manning says, did we hear about AJ Brown saying Jalen Hurts needs to be better passing the ball? Yes. And people are saying, oh, they hate each other. Like, this isn't going to get resolved. Spoiler alert. AJ Brown is the godfather of Jalen Hurts' son.
Yeah.
They're fine. I think AJ Brown's going to get the ball more this week. They're going to make it a point. But in terms of like irreparable relationship, like some have been saying, that's not true whatsoever.
And spoiler alert, Jalen Hurts is not a very good downfield passer.
That too. There's a few situations where it's like AJ Brown's wide ass open, like he should get the ball. But I agree, but I hate the conversation and the people pointing out like AJ Brown needs to score here on the same play where Jalen Hurts threw a different touchdown.
Right.
Like he threw the touchdown. Like you didn't need to throw it there. It doesn't matter
Right.
who scores. But he does need to get the ball more if he's getting covered one-on-one. AJ Brown needs the ball. And it should happen. Baker or Herbert this week with Ladd playing. Also Laporta or Andrews this week. I think I'm going Baker and Andrews.
I'm also going Baker and Andrews. I don't love, for Laporta's purposes, that Matt Milano's back.
No, and DeMar Hamlin has been covering tight ends well. Laporta's also just not a consistent part of the offense.
So DeMar Hamlin's a dirty player that nobody's talking about.
I know. I kind of like it though.
Yeah.
I'm not a DeMar Hamlin guy for sure. Not coming into this year. Quit making it about you.
Right.
Congratulations, you died. Like that's not impressive to me.
I mean,
I like that he's coming back. And be like, this is my second chance. I'm gonna make them fucking feel it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
like everyone, at least in the Packers sphere, everyone talking about Kirby Joseph being a dirty player, which is fine. But like, let's
Whatever.
look at DeMar Hamlin here.
For sure. God, yeah. Being the ref to like reach for his flag as you see DeMar Hamlin, you're like,
Right.
I can't do it. Such a bad look. What's up? Definitely not flip next. How is our day? How's your day, Luke?
My day was fine. Yeah, at school today we didn't have a lot going on. It's the holiday season, so I got a lot of holiday concerts and stuff. But Wednesdays are usually pretty chill days.
Yeah, my day's been all right. I did not know it was supposed to snow today, so we're both in Wisconsin. Decent amount of snow came down. So my office is downstairs. So when I came upstairs, it's such a mood fucking
Yeah,
shot to my mood.
It was enough snow where not enough to be a problem, but enough to be annoying.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's fair. It was super windy here too, which didn't
Agreed.
make anything better. Should Lions Bills be flexed to a different time or day, or prefer the 425 slate? I'm okay. Like, I mean,
Well, of course you love Sunday Night Football, but I think 325 is fine.
yeah, I think it's okay. At the end of the day, like, it doesn't really affect either team. It's a very good game, but like Packers, Seahawks at Sunday night, that's like a rivalry that people don't really talk about, and it's important for the NFC playoff picture.
Wait.
So I think that's okay.
Oh, that's the Sunday night game. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yep. They would have had to flex this. What is it, like 3 weeks out or something?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's fine. Like it should be an exciting game. It's another one with a high over under. Right.
Mhm.
It's probably I would guess it's the odds on favorite for the Super Bowl matchup. So it'll be a fun game to watch.
I'm just happy that means there's a 425 game I want to watch, because there's
Right.
too many weeks where it's like, oh, that noon slot was awesome. Then there's 2 or 3 second shift games that are terrible.
Yeah,
Like, who
I
gives
can't
a
wait.
fuck?
I can't wait to watch fucking Dallas Chicago at 325.
Yeah, that's boring. And you turn on the Chiefs game, like, okay, I guess I'll watch the Chiefs sleepwalk into the fourth quarter and then win it with a field goal.
Winning a fucking doink.
Yeah, I love the Chiefs, but they're not fun to watch.
Right.
It's not entertaining. Izzy wants to know who he should flex, or she. Cooper Kupp, David Montgomery,
Ooh.
T. Higgins.
So in my mind, T. Higgins is taken out of this conversation.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm not sure if you watched. I don't know if it was on the main broadcast. I watched the Simpsons broadcast on Monday night.
Shout out Mo
Um,
Sizlak.
Shout out Mo, hell of a player out there.
TBT.
Strong catch by Ralph in the end zone too.
Yep.
But they were asking players like random questions and stuff, and they asked a bunch of players like, what position would you switch to if you can play your own? T. Higgins says he wants to be kicker because they don't have to practice.
Yeah.
Red
get it.
flag. Don't like that
That's-
whatsoever. Like,
That's
he's
Carson
not
Beck
going to.
saying he doesn't like football.
Yeah, like T. Higgins is not going to try the rest of the season. It feels like they're eliminated. He's just trying to get to the offseason where he can get paid.
Yep.
He's trying to be healthy. So yeah, I don't love having him on my fantasy team rest of the year at all.
Yeah. In 10 months, we're going to be talking about Drake May throwing touchdowns at T. Higgins.
Or Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, I think it was Joe Burrow who said it, thinks T. Higgins is coming back supposedly. There's no way, since he can pay him. There's no way.
Yeah, I agree, but I get where Burrow's coming from. It's his guy, whatever.
I mean, I'm sure it's Burrow. If it was Burrow who said it, I'm pretty positive it was. Like, that's almost putting pressure on the front office more than anything, probably. But Kupp versus Montgomery. Kupp plays the 49ers. I think I'm going David Montgomery in that matchup against the Bills.
I think so. Bills are a team you can really run against. We saw the Rams kind of take care of business last week against Buffalo. It's really hard for me because I'm a big David Montgomery guy. I got him in a couple of leagues. It's really hard to say that I'm going to sit David Montgomery because Lions are going to run the ball, and Buffalo's a team you definitely can run against. I love Cooper Kupp, but with how good Puka's been playing, Matt Stafford was just peppering Puka with targets. I think it feels like David Montgomery's floor is a little bit higher than Cooper Kupp's.
I agree. And teams are still, for the most part, playing the Rams as if Cooper Kupp's the number one.
Yeah.
Which I don't disagree with, but that just means, if you have two number ones, you're very comfortable going to the other one, which is what the Rams are doing right now. So, yeah.
Just speaking on Puka a little bit here. Not that it's any fantasy related, but he has like 3 catches a game that should be like number 1, number 2, and number 3 on SportsCenter top 10.
Yeah, just diving like they're at his toe and somehow he catches it. He's incredible. Did you see he was on McAfee? They asked him something like, what's your thoughts during the game when this type of thing happens? And he's like, my thoughts were, I was like sitting on the bench. I'm like, yo, you remember in high school or whatever, when those little bracelets with that bubble on it that help you balance?
Oh yeah.
Those guys ripped us off.
Hell yeah.
Like, I love Puka, and he's right. Those things, who invented that? We need to get to the bottom of it. What a good scam.
Right.
Incredible.
Puka's got a little Jordy Nelson to him, and I like it.
He's got a little Jordy Nelson. He's got a little, I don't even know. He's just not there. I love it. He's a football guy, but he's a spacey football guy. And I agree. Thank you very much. Or I'm clicking the wrong one. Like the stream, like the video. It definitely helps with the exposure. Definitely helps with getting the word out. So if all of you can like it, I'd appreciate it. And also, I just put up the 200th episode of the Flurry Sports Podcast. You can listen to it anywhere. I just put up the video for that, though, a couple hours ago.
Congrats.
Go listen to. Thank you very much. Go listen to that. Go watch it. I think it's a really fun episode. It ends with the clip from the very first episode, which was New Year's Eve week 2017.
Whoa.
We started our podcast the week Patrick Mahomes made his first NFL start. So to put that in perspective, so you can go listen to us talk about that and a bunch of other stuff. Talk about how Deion Sanders tried to get his full crew on a helicopter, 17 people. They told him he couldn't do that. We talked about Jerry Jones being very racist and problematic and stuff like that. A lot of good Jerry Jones stories that are fun to listen to. So definitely go and watch that. Nino, getting icy in Michigan as well. Yeah, the wind's fucking terrible right now. Coming across the lake, I'm sure it is not fun. Daro, we definitely got time for you. Who should he start? Terry McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy, Zach Charbonnet, DJ Moore, and Brian Thomas Jr. Full PPR, 2 wide receivers and a flex. Let's just assume Kenneth Walker is out, which I think he is trending in that direction. But obviously, if Kenneth Walker plays, Charbonnet is out of the question. But if he is out, I think you definitely have to start Charbonnet, right?
Yeah, I think Charbonnet. I think McLaurin. They're indoors this week. They're coming off a bye. I think Washington's fine. I've been, DJ Moore is what? I guess they're indoors too in Minnesota. What do you like? Because I had Brian Thomas out of this picture here. What do you like more, DJ Moore or Jerry Jeudy?
I'm looking to see where they're ranked because I'm leaning Jeudy. I want to know if my rankings back that up. They do. So I have Jerry Jeudy at 20. I have DJ Moore at 25. I think this is a week where Jameis could throw the ball a lot. Like, just whip it around. Like, have a very good day against the Chiefs. I respect the Chiefs defense, but I think he's going to fuck around in this game and put up a lot of stats.
Well, you've talked about it too in the past, and nothing's been more true. Like you get a quarterback that comes in that maybe didn't start the season. You play, you play with second string guys in practice, and there's an obvious connection between Jameis and Judy, and I think that hasn't been more true than this year.
Yeah, very clearly looking his way. He started to look his way a little bit more. I suppose when Tillman got hurt, Tillman probably back. But that still doesn't. I think that hurts Njoku more than it hurts Judy. But because I think Njoku also has like 30 targets over the past 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, Judy should be good. So I would go those three. If for some reason Walker plays, then I would just pivot to DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yep. Could see the Commanders getting T. Higgins. I could see him in Washington.
I agree. Nino said, or the Pats. I think New England is making a big push for T. Higgins in the offseason, from what I've read.
They got the money. They can pay him whatever he wants. So if he wants to solely go based on money, it seems like it would be New England or the Chargers. I think they have a decent amount of money.
Just talking out here, and I know, whatever. Like New England probably needs to go offensive line or defensive line in the draft. But if they can come up with the third pick and they can sign T. Higgins, Travis Hunter is not a horrible receiving core. Plus Hunter Henry, Demario Douglas, not horrible for Drake May.
A lot of people projecting Travis Hunter there. I'm still wondering what they're going to do with Travis Hunter. If you're picking aside the ball, I think he's better on defense.
I also think he's better on defense, but I think Travis Hunter, I think he's a guy where he probably plays full time at corner or receiver, whatever you want to say, and then he plays snaps here and there on the other side.
Yeah, he'll be Pac-Man.
Yeah,
someone like that, or Dion, I suppose. But yeah, Hester. If Ladd plays, are we benching Kupp or Connor for him?
I'm not benching Kupp for him. I don't know. I'm not benching either for him.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm not benching Connor for him.
Yeah.
But I agree. I don't think I'm gonna go for him.
I like Ladd. He's a good player, but
for sure,
to win fantasy playoffs, you need stars. Kupp and Connor are stars.
Yeah, they're stars, and I mean you're gonna feel so dumb if Ladd gets hit the first play and is out for the game.
Yeah. That feels like a don't overthink it to me.
I agree. As Kenneth Walker owner, I hope he doesn't play. Just don't want to have to worry about him. Fully get that. Fully get that. He's been like, I feel like ever since he had that insane kind of flip where he wasn't down, he made that big play. It must have been in a primetime game. He's just been a letdown since.
Yeah.
Been weird. Definitely not clip. Can I post videos about us to get you more popular? Yes, assuming they're not fully disparaging or something. Go ahead and post us, but maybe DM me at Fantasy Flurry. Send me a rough draft of the first one or something.
Just a little outline.
Yeah. You can say a lot of things about me, and a lot of things have been said. And you have your right to that. Just make them true. You know what I mean? Peter, welcome back. Would we flex Flowers or Hawkinson full PPR for tight ends, half or the rest? Thinks Hawkinson has a big game against the Bears like last time. I don't disagree with that thought. I just think Flowers is so much safer with a higher upside too.
Yeah, and shout out Peter, you've been here all season long. I appreciate it. And we talk about it every week, but the full PPR tight end, it has to be taken into consideration. But we saw Justin Jefferson get double covered. I mean, he scored last week, right? But we saw a big game out of Jordan Addison. It feels like the second option there is Jordan Addison right now. So yeah, I'm with Zay Flowers.
Yeah, it's like, does Hawkinson get enough receptions to make that full PPR truly count?
So if so, he would have to have 5 or 6 receptions.
Hawkinson does?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and his receptions, I mean, just last 4 weeks, I guess, 2, 7, 3, and 4. Topped 50 yards one time. He still hasn't scored a touchdown yet. Flowers is playing the Giants. Like he
Yeah.
could take one to the house immediately.
Yep.
And the Giants, oh, by the way, out their rookie safety. Tyler Newman's out.
Yep.
Which hurts.
Yeah. I agree with 100% that Flowers has the higher floor. And I think probably Flowers kind of sees – I bet Flowers sees, 7 to 8 targets while Hawkinson is probably fighting for 7 targets.
Yeah. And like I said, Hawkinson's been under 50 all but one game. And Pater, obviously, referencing that one game, right, in Chicago a few weeks ago, 7 catches, 114 yards went off. So I fully get it. Different defense a little bit now without Eberflus calling it. I almost wonder if they're going to be hyper aggressive, and if the Bears are going to be very aggressive and send a bunch of guys, that's very good for the Vikings, I think, but it's not necessarily good for Hawkinson because they're going to have to keep him into block and chip and stuff like that.
Right. Like being aggressive, that just screams one-on-one cover with Justin Jefferson. And if you have that, you're throwing to him every time. Also, we're coming off a 5-touchdown game from Sam Darnold. How many more times are you going to get that in Sam Darnold's career? And on top of that, none of them went to Hawkinson.
No, yeah, he hasn't scored a touchdown yet. Once they get in, like the red zone stuff, they're running the ball. They're not really getting in the red zone a ton either because Addison and Justin Jefferson have those big, catches. So,
yeah,
don't love them as much as I hoped I would. Coming into the year, I thought Hawkinson could potentially be a league winner, and it's not really looking that way.
Yeah. A secret, Jordan Addison's a very good player.
Very good. Very good. He'd be a lot of teams' number one.
Yep.
Okay. Top 5 running backs for the week quickly. I have Derrick Henry off a bye at the Giants. I just love the Ravens this week, obviously. Saquon versus the Steelers is 2. That matchup scares me. I just can't logically put him lower. Bijan Robinson's 3 at the Raiders. Joe Mixon 4 versus the Dolphins. And then 8-Chain 5 at the Texans. Anybody you think doesn't belong there?
Well, it's really interesting to see kind of the spectrum of the top 5 there, right? Like, even though Pittsburgh's got a good defense, I've said it before, it's going to be a snow game. I mean, Saquon, you have to play. They're going to give him the ball. Saquon should be having the best fantasy season of all time if Tush Push was never invented. But on the other side, you have Devon Achane, who's not really playing well in the run game, but in the pass game, he's been dominating. So yeah, I love them both this week.
Yeah. Achane is so weird to rank. I think I'm lower on him than the consensus. Let's see. Consensus, I'm right in line. So consensus also has him 5. Just a little weird. Jahmyr Gibbs is right behind him. I want to put Gibbs higher against the Bills. It's just hard to, gauge where those touchdowns go. Josh Jacobs at Seattle is at 7.
Yeah.
And then Chuba Hubbard at 8. Brooke, can't remember which one. Jonathan Brooks. Re-tears that ACL. So now it's the Chuba show again. And he gets to play Dallas. So if you held on to him, if you somehow traded low, whatever it may be, Chuba is a league winner, possibly. Yeah. He's been so good this year. And now Panthers kind of look, I wouldn't say smart, but they are looking okay that they signed him to a bigger contract in the middle of the season for whatever reason. Still don't get it.
Yeah. Just to speak on Josh Jacobs real quick. That's obviously right. The number one thing, like Jordan Love, he's still throwing touchdowns, but it's just a Josh Jacobs show in Green Bay. So you're not doubting Josh Jacobs. For Carolina, that I'm not going to say career ending, but that's horrible for Jonathan Brooks re-tearing the same ACL. Like he's going to have a tough time coming back from that. Carolina paid Chuba Hubbard for a reason. It's in case Jonathan Brooks got hurt, which in fact he did. So I don't see why Carolina goes anywhere away from Chuba Hubbard here.
Yeah, physically tough to come back from. Mentally, so horrible. Tough. Like, how do you trust that knee? That's going to be impossible. And after they were so conservative with him, they were so slow to bring him back. People are like, what the hell are you doing? He's healthy. He was cleared a month ago. And then reins sort of get taken off, and all of a sudden he is down. Not great. What's up, Randy?
Hey, Randy.
Purdy or May? And this is weird. Yeah, I was going to say it. Like, I talked up May, and I said I don't like don't really trust Purdy, but I said Purdy's quarterback 8. I know May is below that, so I'll stick with my rankings and say Purdy. I feel like the range of outcomes are higher for Purdy, though.
I do. The reason I like Purdy is because they're like San Francisco, for as bad as they've been playing for all the injuries, they're still playing for division here. So, I mean, you're going to get San Francisco's best shot in those last 4 games this week, which makes me like Purdy a little bit more.
But like we said, if the running game doesn't work right away, they're fucked.
Yeah.
Everything is built off of the same, running looks. Like they run different running plays off the same looks. They run play action off that same look. Everything is built off of a very specific scheme. And if the running game doesn't work, the wheels could come off very quickly. So range of outcomes is high, but I mean, I'm not really that afraid of the Rams defense either, even though they're playing a little bit better. So yeah, we're split, but I think they're both okay this week. I don't think either is going to necessarily lose either matchup. Definitely go to flurrysports.org to check out rankings, because we're not going to go through the rest of these, like a ton of them, obviously.
Check out too on Flurry Sports. Like if you're in a position where maybe a guy's hurt, we have all 5 position streamer articles out.
Yes, we got streamers articles. We got start 'em, sit 'em coming up tomorrow. But yeah, then we got rankings obviously as well. So definitely go check that out. Rankings update coming tomorrow as well, and then Sunday morning probably, if not Saturday night. So definitely do that. If after here you still have questions, feel free to comment them below and we'll try to answer them. Otherwise, head to Twitter at Fantasy Flurry at Luke Rhyme. You can ask us questions there. You can also scan the QR code here or go to one of a variety of articles on Flurry Sports and go to Buy Me a Coffee. If you scan this, you can join the membership. You can get the yearly membership, which includes obviously a full year, which goes through obviously next regular season fantasy. So we can help you win this season, help you win next season. You get access to a private group chat, a bunch of stats and data, and yearly members exclusively get the draft kit for free. So that pays for itself by itself. Otherwise, you can do monthly. It's just 1 coffee per month. Obviously, yearly, I think it's 7 coffees for the entire year. A much better deal. But you can join our group chat. We can help you with fantasy questions 24/7. Like I said, you got boom bust data, you got opportunity index, you got a strength of schedule. Anything else we add in the off season, we'll be doing rookie and draft and dynasty analysis in the off season as well. But that draft kit is going to be essential to winning your fantasy leagues. It is proven at this point. We put together a very good draft kit, so I recommend going to that.
And Zach, I'm going to talk you up a little bit here too. If you have any questions, I'm going to say we did a guillotine league this year where everyone drafts there's 32 teams in a league. Everyone gets a team, and then the last place gets kicked out of the league, and their players go on waivers. Zach, you by far have the best team. I've been following it ever since I got kicked out. I'm going to add on to that. You're not a baseball guy. You dominate baseball. You dominate college football. So you're going to get a buy me a coffee with Zach. He knows what he's talking about. Get into it.
Yeah. The baseball one, it's interesting. Couldn't name you anybody other than Pete Alonso that was on my team, but I do know the Polar Bear was on there because that was the one guy I went into the draft saying, need that guy. Feel like it wasn't very good this year. Truly don't know. Just playing by the numbers.
I will say that 32-team guillotine league, that's a really fun league.
Very fun. If you guys are interested in doing it, I put a little tester out on Twitter at one point, like just gauging the interest of people. There's a decent amount of interest. Luke's friend put it together. I think that's something we can grow. I think we could put that proof of concept out there. Super fun. Super fun. And it feels like something you could start mid-season as well. If all of a sudden you get knocked out, you're like, this is bullshit. You know what I mean? There's 16 people right alongside you that you could start in mid-season one, or you could do a playoff guillotine for this playoffs as well. Not 32 teams, but 16 or something.
While we're still in the running back here, I'm actually in the final 4 of a guillotine league here, and I have a question for you.
Sure.
So I need to avoid elimination. I need to be top 3 out of the 4. I need 2 spots filled. One is a tight end and one's a flex. Jonnu Smith, Mark Andrews, Tyrone Tracy.
I think I'm going Jonnu Smith. I don't love Mark Andrews with Isaiah Likely back, and I don't think the matchup's it's not super good against the Giants. And then Tyrone Tracy has to play the Ravens run defense, so I don't really like that at all. So I think I'm going Jonnu.
Would DJ Moore factor into that at all?
I like DJ Moore more than Andrews and Tracy. If you think you just need a steady score, you don't need to go for a ceiling necessarily. I think I'd go Jonnu. If you need to shoot for the stars, I think I'd go Moore.
I think I need to shoot from the start just because there's 4 teams left.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Moore has a higher ceiling for sure.
Okay.
I mean, Vikings are going to blitz. It just takes one missed tackle, just a picked up blitz. All of a sudden, DJ Moore's 80 yards to the house.
Yeah.
So how do you do? Let's see how we did last time against the Vikings. I feel like not great, but it was outside. He went 7 for 106 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Dare I say good. He's also had 24 targets over the past 2 weeks, so definitely a point to get DJ Moore the ball, which is what they should have been doing all year, but whatever.
It kind of feels like Ryan Pohl's job, especially, I guess he kind of has Caleb Williams going for him, but he gave DJ Moore the highest contract in Bears history. It kind of revolves on DJ Moore being good.
Yeah. I don't know why they would. I mean, they made him a decoy all year.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. For at least 3 years in a row, the Bears have run 2 offenses every year. They start the year terrible, and then they switch to something somewhat competent.
Mm-hmm.
They did it 2 years in a row with Justin Fields, making him a passing pocket passer, and then they switched like, hey, maybe we should get him on the move a little bit. And then this year with Caleb Williams, it was just a disaster. There was no timing. There was no cohesion. There's no concept of what they were doing.
Yeah. I've talked a lot of shit about the Bears over the past couple of years, which rightfully so. But Caleb Williams is not a bad football player.
No, I don't like him, but he's a good football player. I think he's soft.
Yeah.
Quickly, 5 receivers. We got Jamar Chase 1 at Tennessee, Nico Collins 2 versus Miami, Amon-Ra 3 versus Buffalo. I went with Puka at 4 at San Francisco, and then Justin Jefferson 5 versus the Bears. Anybody there?
Yeah, I think Puka for sure, right? I think I'm betting on him having another big week. Both teams are in for a divisional championship here. I think this is a kind of a sneaky shootout game. Whether we kind of talked, you're not comfortable with Brock Purdy. I think the Rams put up points either way. Who did you put at 5?
Jefferson at 5.
And of course Jefferson. But yeah, I think Nico Collins coming off a bye. I kind of like Houston this week. Jamar Chase is the guy. So yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, banking on Nico doing something, and then Amon-Ra, I think you can beat them in the slot. I think he can have an okay game. He's a guy who I could see moving down. I have AJ Brown at 6. We talked about, I think they're going to make it a point to get him involved. So I'm trying to convince myself to put him higher. It's just that Steelers game. You said the weather. It feels like a low scoring game to me, which is why I'm not super high on Jalen Hurts or anybody either.
We don't really usually talk about kickers, and you probably shouldn't talk about them in snow games. I mean, I kind of like Chris Boswell this week. We've never seen a kicker, as good in horrible weather than we've seen Chris Boswell. It kind of feels like a grinded out field goal game.
I agree. Logic says you don't want to play kicker in this weather, but yeah, he's been so good. He's been automatic. The Steelers have struggled to score touchdowns anyways, and I think that certainly continues against the Eagles, right? So
yeah,
I like him.
Chris Boswell, sneaky, really good kicker.
Real life and fantasy. Fantasy, he's been insane. Automatic.
I have a receiver. Receiver room to talk about.
Sure.
About Seattle, right? Tyler Lockett is kind of it feels like he's kind of phased out of this offense, which kind of sucks. I love Tyler Lockett. He's been a great player his whole career. DK Metcalf is not it. Jackson Smith-Njigba is sneaky wide receiver 5 on the season.
Yeah, he's been insane. He's had a consistent role, which is something I just didn't foresee happening with Tyler Lockett still there. But to your point, they just completely ruled out Lockett at this point. I like him a lot. It feels like a game where, and he hasn't done jack shit for probably the better part of 2 months, I guess. it feels like a DK Metcalf game against the Packers.
It just feels on top of it, right? I mean, it feels. I agree with that, but I think it's a Smith and Jigba too. Like the Packers secondary is so depleted. Like Javon Bullard kind of feels lost right now. Xavier McKinney, of course, is a guy who's going to make a play, but it feels like he's going to shade a little bit to DK Metcalf's side. I don't know. I feel like Jackson Smith and Jigba probably sees a lot of single coverage in this game, and it probably means a lot of Keyshawn Nixon on him, which I love.
Yeah, and to your point, we'll talk about a little bit in the Packers show. Bullard didn't practice today, so if he's banked up, doesn't go, whatever it may be, could see more Keyshawn Nixon, which is great for any receiver. Jair is back at practice, fully off the injury report, so it sounds like he's going to go from 0 to fully playing, which is interesting.
On top of that, Jair coming back, it feels like a game where Jair and DK Metcalf could both get kicked out of the game.
For sure. Metcalf struggled against the Packers. Jair's won those matchups. I hate Metcalf. I think he's a loser, so that's why he loses these. But he has a foot on Jair. He should win that matchup, a jump ball every time.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't happen. So we'll see what happens there, I guess. But definitely like Smith and Jigba more than Metcalf. I like Geno. Geno's balling. Packers haven't really gotten a pressure. I think they're 28th in pressure rate. So they're not really getting much pressure, which again points to both of those receivers getting open. So yeah, Seattle's a good offense, man. They're doing really well this year.
For their playoff lives here too.
Yeah, they have to win. I would love to see San Francisco sneak in for all of my parlay's sake. It feels. I was looking at the standings today. I'm like, oh my, they actually could still make this fucking playoffs. Yeah. That's insane.
As a Packer fan, and I'll talk about it on Lombardi Sweep coming up. I do not want to go to Seattle first round of the playoffs.
I don't want to go anywhere out west for any of those teams, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm good without it. Give me the Vikings in the playoffs. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Or the Lions. Lions don't beat the Packers 3 times.
Arizona.
I don't think.
Fuck Arizona.
Yeah, I'm fine with Arizona. You're right. That's a team out west I'm fine with. Pizza Guy's got a question before we get out of here. Ask any questions. If you guys still have questions, fire them away. Otherwise, we will be out and come back on pretty quickly for Lombardi Sweep, which is the show all about the Packers, just us two for tonight. So very much the same type of vibe. But Pizza Guy needs some help. He is locked in with Adams and Evans as his receivers. He's got Bijan and Brian Robinson. 2 B-Robs at running back. And then flex, he has Terry McLaurin, Shakir, Rico, Najee, or Waddle. Daniels is his quarterback, so could go with a heavy Washington lineup. I don't hate a heavy Washington lineup against New Orleans at all.
Yeah.
I think that's what I do.
Like I said before, they're indoors. I think Washington's fine. They're coming off a bye. It feels like the perfect time for a bye for Washington because they're kind of sliding there a little bit. You get your rookie quarterback settled. You get 2 weeks off. I don't hate it at all. I understand the question for Shakir, right? After last week, I mean, Josh Allen is probably the MVP at this point. It feels like every target that goes to Shakir being caught. I mean, Buffalo had to play from behind from like the majority of that game. Like they're going to run the ball against Detroit. I think Buffalo does win the game. I like Shakir, but I don't think he has another, 7 for 100 in a touchdown game.
I think out of that group, I think I'd put Rico Dowdle at number 2, actually.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I think I'd go heavy Washington. My only worry about Jane Daniels this week is if they get up by too much, which I think is very possible against what seems to be Haener and the Saints.
But even saying that, if he's doing a full Washington lineup, that means you're getting Jane Daniels or Brian Robinson. You're getting all of Washington's points.
Agreed. Yeah, they're not going to be scoring with very many other people, if any, than McLaurin and Robinson. So I like that a lot. Half PPR doesn't matter. So yeah, that's what I would do.
I also like Devontae Adams a lot this week against Jacksonville.
Man, I mean, obviously we've been sort of cheering for the Jets because of Adams, because of Rodgers and stuff like that. Like, boy, I would love to see a 400-yard game out of Rodgers and just to put it on this fucking Jaguars team.
Yep.
Put Doug Peterson out of his misery. See if we can get him fired a little bit early. Like, just do something in this game, man.
Yep.
Another quick one, pick 3 receivers, Zay Flowers, Addison Shakir, and Jawan Jennings, standard scoring. Flowers and Addison are for sure, I assume, right?
Jawan Jennings for sure too. Like I've been the guy who said Jawan Jennings doesn't really have a role if nobody's injured. Just watching that game last week, Jawan Jennings is the number 1 passing option in this offense. Like Purdy's looking at Jennings every single play.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not him, it's Kittle. It's not Deebo Samuel. So, yeah, he is very much high on this pecking order. Goes against the Rams. I'm not afraid of the Rams corners, really. So, yeah, I think I agree. Shakir's probably last. Addison probably needs a touchdown, but I think he gets it. So,
yeah, I would imagine Justin Jefferson probably gets a lot of Jalen Johnson in this game, and we saw last week when a team tried to take away Jefferson, it's Addison.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, teams are very comfortable doubling Jefferson, having a safety cheat over, and like we said earlier, I mean, shit. Addison's a number 1. Like he's too good to just leave by himself. It's the same thing as Puka and Cooper Kupp, right? So, yeah. Leaning Jennings, especially if Garendo's out. Yeah, I don't think it matters if Garendo plays or not.
Same thing as Devontae Adams and James Jones 5 years ago.
Bingo. I fully agree. Fire any questions you got. Last second, we got a little ad here.
Hey-o.
How do we get this? I'll just do this. Can they hear me? Can you guys hear me? I hope you can hear me. Okay, cool. So go to mysportshirt.com/Grinch. mysportshirt.com/Grinch. We got this maybe former Green Bay Packer Grinch merch here. He's been in the news the last couple of days for something that's not even his fault. I mean, he should have laid that guy out. Fucking sucker punch him.
Is Mark Gastineau the biggest pussy of all time?
What a bitch. I mean, between that and hearing the state of Ohio is trying to pass a law where you can't put a flag in the middle of their field. Holy shit. Hate it. And then we get news today that the NFL wants to outlaw blocks below the knees.
Crazy.
Oh, I hate this. What an ad for this. Brett Favre Grinch merch. I'll even say it's Brett Favre. So we got how the quarterback stole Christmas. We got just a Christmas sweater version. mysportshirt.com/Grinch. Get it before Christmas if you order today. I have it priced pretty well, I think, so it's not going to break the bank. This is fun stuff. This is a fun design. I highly encourage you showing up to your Christmas party, to your family Christmas, where you take that picture where it's going to last all year long, or get a little Christmas ornament, get a little mug for somebody. I think it's a good one. So definitely go and get that mysportshirt.com/Grinch.
I will say, we're Packer fans. We're both Favre guys. I would imagine a lot of people out there are not Favre guys. So you come to a Christmas party with that, you're going to get a lot of nice sweatshirts.
Exactly. Yeah. Very much a Favre guy. Favorite player growing up. Other than, hand in hand with Reggie White. Gotta see which one. But I'm a Favre guy and I love it. To your point, people who hate Favre gonna love that more for sure. Thoughts on Tony Pollard this week? I don't love him. I know that. Titans play who? Cincy.
I think we're at the point of the season where, and this is saying as a guy who's hung on to who's played Calvin Ridley every week. I don't love playing guys from shitty teams. Like we talked about Chuba Hubbard, that's kind of feels like an anomaly. But I'm not, Tennessee hasn't been great. Jacksonville hasn't been great. Carolina hasn't been great. I don't love starting these guys in fantasy playoffs.
I don't love it. And then a few weeks ago, they actively came out and said they want to get Pollard less and less touches. Obviously, they're not playing for anything. They want to see what they got in the rest of their roster. Then Tyjae Spears kind of gets banged up, so they weren't really able to do that. I see how many touches Spears got last week, though. Now they're starting to actually put their plan in place. Spears last week had 6 carries, 1 catch. I think they're going to try to up that even more. I can see Spears getting at least 10 touches in this game, and those have to come from somewhere. So if Pollard is going to see fewer touches, obviously we talk about running backs on bad offenses all the time. Touchdown upside goes way, way down. So if we're seeing Pollard's getting fewer touches, his touchdown upside's low. Don't love it. He's a flex at best.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a game too where I know Cincinnati won last week against Dallas, but it really feels like this was a wasted season from Cincinnati given the talent. I know that Joe Burrow, I know that Jamar Chase, I know that Zach Taylor, they want to put up a kind of a big week, and it feels like this could be a week. I know Tennessee's defense is fine, but I think Cincinnati comes out and passes the ball and gets up big, and Tennessee's fighting from behind the whole game.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't believe in Tennessee's offense. I do believe in their defense. We'll see. And that's not to say I believe in Cincinnati's defense. I think they're bad. I just think Tennessee's a mess.
Yeah.
Do we think Waddle, Shakir, or Patrick Taylor in the flex this week? I've had a few questions with Patrick Taylor. So assuming Guarendo's out, you have to make this decision quick. Obviously, Taylor plays tomorrow. What I've been telling people is that I'm not willing to lose my fantasy playoffs on a Thursday for Patrick Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that too. And even if you bench Patrick Taylor and he goes off, you're not giving anyone else points. Like, you'd rather have a guy who goes off on your bench. You'd rather have a guy on your bench go off than a guy go off against you. So I'm going Shakir here.
Dolphins play Houston. And then Shakir plays Detroit. I want to believe in Waddle so damn bad. I mean, I can look at my rankings. I'm not sure why I'm not doing that. My gut's saying Waddle, though. I currently have Waddle at 32. I have Shakir at 36. So I'm going to go with Waddle. Patrick Taylor, if he is the starter, I think San Francisco has as split of a backfield as we've seen all season.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't see Patrick Taylor getting 26 carries in this game.
No, and we're very familiar with Patrick Taylor. He spent a few years in Green Bay. I think he's a good player. I think he could have a very good game. I just don't think he sees the 20 touches like we usually see out of a top San Francisco back. So you're hoping he scores the touchdown, and I don't really want to be in that spot.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Pizza guy Burrow's going to cook. He's been cooking. He's been cooking. And I appreciate it, Manning. Definitely subscribe. I know it's the end of the season, but we have a lot of off-season stuff we do. We do the ranking show. So instead of a fantasy football ranking show, we'll be ranking all kinds of stuff like best Pop-Tart flavors, best pizza toppings, stuff like that. A lot more fun stuff. Man, this is business, strictly business right now.
Yeah, and too, if you're an NBA fan, we'll get some NBA stuff going too.
For sure. Hopefully more like DFS NBA stuff as well. More daily stuff could be fun. J-Lex, half PPR, need to start 2. Amon-Ra, Drake London, T. Higgins, JSN, DJ Moore. I think I'm going first 2. Amon-Ra, Drake, London. London has been great, but against the Raiders, it feels like it has to be a get-right game for Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins has, 0 touchdowns, 8 interceptions in his last 4 games or whatever it is. Kirk hasn't been bad. This is a team where you just beat the fuck out of and kind of get your way back in the playoff picture. I said I like JSN. I can hear a conversation for JSN over Drake London. It kind of feels like there's some, but yeah, Amon-Ra, Drake London, I'm fine with.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there. For running back flex, I'm starting A-Chain, Jacobs, and Chase Brown. So I guess would you start any of those receivers over Chase Brown? I don't think I am.
Well, I mean, Amon-Ra.
Right, but Amon-Ra, I assume, is in your wide receiver spot, right?
So I guess if we were building a lineup here, it would be A-Chain, Jacobs, Amon-Ra, Drake London, and then are you doing Chase Brown or JSN? I guess is the conversation here.
Correct. And I don't love the matchup for Chase Brown. I just think he is catching enough passes to... you know what?
I think I'm doing JSN.
Man, I think so too. What do I have Chase Brown at? I think he's high. I just don't trust him. I have Chase Brown at 9. I think I'd go JSN over him though. Well, I mean, you said, are you JSN over Drake London though?
I could hear an argument for it, but no, I'm probably Drake. If I had to make a choice, I'm probably Drake London. That's fine. But I think that speaks to JSN over Chase Brown.
Yeah. I think I'm playing it safe with Chase Brown, but I think it's very, very, very close.
I mean, as wide receiver 2 last week, we saw Jameson Williams go like 7 for 80 yards, like against.
Yeah.
JSN, can you do that and get in the end zone? Absolutely.
If you watch the practice reports. If Bullard is out for the Packers, I'm not hesitating to put JSN in.
For sure.
Like, that makes it a must start, but I think it's a coin flip. Ask on Twitter at the end of the week. I'm going to flip-flop on that one. That one's really tough, I think.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk to us Sunday morning.
For sure. At Luke Rhyme, REIM, and I am where you are right now, obviously. Appreciate you, Victor. Appreciate you, Pizza Guy. Appreciate you, J-Lex. Do we think Bucky Irving is going to play? I didn't see any practice reports yet today. So just looking at what happened over the weekend and what I knew as of Tuesday, it felt like he's going to be very limited if he does play. So I'm not trying to put him in my fantasy lineup.
It's again, too, he's all with a leg injury. Like, Bucky Irving's got way more going on than a leg injury right now.
Yeah. Dude's a physical player, and he is getting beaten up. This is less of an important game, so he plays at the Chargers this week. Not a good matchup, and it's not that important. He ends the season with Dallas, Carolina, Saints. Those are the games the Buccaneers need to win. If they win those three, they're probably in the playoffs, right? So they're probably going to rest him or, keep him limited, I would assume.
And Rachaad White's fine as a starting running back.
Yeah. And Sean Tucker or whatever.
Yep.
He's proven to be an okay number 2. What round? Gotta be more specific, Pizza Guy. It's on a delay. Bucky Irving?
Yeah, probably
Assuming?
probably 6th, 7th round next year.
Yeah, he's gonna be one of those weird late ones because everyone's gonna talk up that backfield split, which is a real thing, but I would assume he's going to be the clear number 1 in terms of a runner next year. Yeah, Bucky.
I could also, it also kind of feels like, going in, Bucky Irving's kind of the sleeper pick. We'll get him in the 8th round, and he ends up with, 650 yards and 5 touchdowns, and Rachaad White ends up with 450 yards and 5 touchdowns.
I mean, how late did David Montgomery go this year?
Right.
I think he goes later than when he went. We've been attacking that number 2 running back on Detroit for the past 4 or 5 years at this point.
Yeah.
Whether it was Jamal Williams or it's David Montgomery. People just get so scared of committees, and they downgrade everybody because of it. So, yeah, I think he's going to be that 7-8 range, and the 0 RB people are going to go crazy when they get him.
Yep.
Rightfully so. Going to be weird, though. Again, if you become a member, you'll get all the dynasty, rookie scouting, stuff like that. I like a lot of running backs in this draft. So I think it's going to be a very interesting running back landscape next year for fantasy and for reality.
There's a lot of teams that need running backs too.
Yeah. There's a lot of teams that need a lot of things, and they're not signing a lot of players right now.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Packers, sign Patrick Peterson. Sign somebody like that. Like, there's running backs out there. There's receivers out there. There's DBs out there. There's a lot of linebackers I think are solid.
Leonard Fournette is still.
Yeah. I don't think he's bad. 49ers, I think, worked him out at one point, and they didn't call him. Like, this I hate this CBA for the NFL. It's gotten rid of so many veterans that can play well, especially linemen, because Leonard Fournette, because of the time he's clocked, he is not cheap. Like, you got to pay him that vet minimum. And like, at that point, you can just pay 5 and no undrafted free agents or whatever. So, and you see a lot of bad football right now. Okay, we're going to get out of here. We will be back very, very soon.
You want
in 5 to 10 minutes here. Go ahead.
Top five tight ends real quick.
Sure, why not? It's just us 2 for Lombardi sweep. Anyway, tight ends, we have Brock Bowers at number 1, I assume. Yep, versus the Falcons. I did go David Njoku number 2 versus the Chiefs. I have George Kittle 3 versus the Rams. Trey McBride 4 versus the Patriots, and then Travis Kelce 5 at Cleveland. I think Taylor Swift is done with her tour or something, I heard, so she might be in attendance for every game from here on out, which I think is good. Try to remember all these little trends here. I think that's good for Travis Kelce. Does that sway you?
It does. if I'm a Travis Kelce owner, I'm petrified. It feels like DeAndre Hopkins is kind of taken over the role of the touchdown scorer through the passing for Kansas City, right?
Or Noah Gray,
Yeah.
which isn't better. Yeah, at some point, Travis Kelce, in my mind, Travis Kelce looks like Travis Kelce still. So
Yeah.
once the playoffs roll around, I mean, bet those overs on every reception prop whatsoever.
It kind of feels like, to make an NBA reference, everyone says that Jimmy Butler kind of sucks, but turns it on with the playoffs. It kind of feels like that's what Travis Kelce's got going on here.
No kidding. Yeah. Jimmy Butler, I can't wait for him to just dominate somebody I don't even know. I'm so checked out in the NBA. I don't know where he's rumored to at this current moment.
It's going to look so good in the state uniform.
Golden State, you think so?
They need another star next to Steph.
I know they need it. I think that makes them a very good team. I don't know what their cap is.
As a Bucks fan, it would be incredible for Jimmy Butler coming to Milwaukee.
Oh,
come home, Jimmy.
Trade Middleton straight up. Send money with Middleton. Get rid of him. Done with him. I'm not a Middleton guy though. Okay, we will be back for Lombardi sweep here in 5 to 10 minutes. We'll be talking about that Sunday night football game against the Seahawks, breaking that down, talking about last week's game a little bit. But we get a little bit even more off the rails, I feel like. So if you come, hang out, ask any random questions you got, and we'll answer them. So see you